Hi everyone, Phil Travis here, History 480 here at EOU, and it is week 6. Unbelievably, like the term is halfway over. It's really hard to believe. Time really goes by fast. I hope everybody's enjoying the course so far. I think that, in my opinion, the course just gets better and better. I have some fun, videos and also music in the coming weeks that I'm hoping will further kind of enhance our ability to kind of understand this era of history and to kind of experience some of the sights and the sounds and the icons of this period of United States history. This is week 6, so the big assignment this week is midterm exam. There's a study guide. There's a study guide that I posted for the midterm exam, and that was posted up last week, but it's also in modules for this week. The study guide is a list of terms, and basically it gives you an idea. I based the test on the study guide, so if it's on the test or if it was really prominent in the class, then you know that it's like game for the test. The midterm is made up of a series of multiple choice questions, probably around 70 points will be from multiple choice, true and false type questions. And then there's one essay. You'll choose one of 2 essays, and the essay will be worth like 30 points or something like that. The essay is not listed on the study guide, and the reason I did that is because I don't want you writing the essay in advance and then just copying it down when you take the test. You can use your book and you can use your notes on this, but I want you to have to look at the essay while you're taking the test and then do the best you can to write a quality essay. And what I'm looking for in the essay is I'm looking for your understanding of specific details. So don't be overly general. Make sure you use specific details in arguing your point in the essay. And remember that the test is timed. It'll be probably an hour and a half. You'll have 90 minutes on the test, so should be plenty of time. But make sure you prepare in advance. Use the study guide. Think about some of the big topics we've been talking about in this class, and make sure you're prepared in advance. Prep during the week, and then take the exam Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. That's my recommendation. Also, I'll get your paper proposals done this week, and I'll get my feedback back to you. Let's see. Oh, I have a little video this week. It's a video on baseball really between the 1920s and the 1950s. The 50s is beyond the scope of our class, but that's just at the very beginning of the film. Do they talk about the 1950s? Majority of it is relating to the 1920s and 30s, and it's really great. It's all like home movie film from the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. And I want you, it's like 10 minutes, okay? So I'm not asking you to do some huge, overly time-consuming thing. But one thing I want to do, like in a class like this, is do everything I can to kind of get you to sort of experience this time period, experience the past, immerse yourself into the topic. And so anytime I get a chance to kind of expose you to iconic people or events or music or film, so forth, I want to try to do it. And so this week, I have a short 10-minute film. It's on baseball during the 20s and 30s and 40s. And, during this time period, baseball was truly a national game. There were almost every major community had their own adult men's baseball leagues. Teams like the St. Louis Cardinals in the 1930s had like 50 affiliated minor league teams. And that's just off the top of my head. It's not exactly 50, but it's actually a little bit more. So there are literally numerous minor league teams throughout the country. Baseball was a game that during the late 1800s, before all the monuments went up near the Capitol on the National Mall, they used to play baseball out there. Presidents like I think it was James A. Garfield, I think it was a fan of baseball, and he would sit out there and watch them play baseball on the lawn on the National Mall. So baseball was very much a national pastime, and so I want to kind of just give you some exposure to some of the personalities and some of the images, the old ballparks and so forth of baseball during this time period. So I want you to watch it. It's a short 10-minute documentary clip. And then to prove that you watched it, I want you to take the video quiz. It's a Babe Ruth video quiz, but it's not designed for you to fail. It's not multiple choice. It's just go in there and write a paragraph, and just to demonstrate that you actually watched the video, your reactions from it, and that kind of thing. Next week we'll have some vaudeville stuff. We'll have some music. We'll have some film. We'll have some cartoons. So I got some fun stuff planned for you, and I hope you guys are getting into it. Reading for this week is Reeves chapter 5, also Democracy's Prisoner. If you haven't been reading that, need to really be reading that. This week I'm going to be asking us to, in the discussion board, kind of hone in on the thesis statement of Democracy's Prisoner. Okay, I think that's about it. Factoid for this week. Factoid for this week is this. Coming out of World War I, with the end of World War I, it was a rather bleak time, actually, in the United States. The economy wasn't great. There was the so-called Black Sox scandal where the Chicago White Sox threw the World Series. There was a hysteria in the country over radicalism, anti-government radicalism, whether communist or from anarchists. There were labor uprisings. It was a real kind of dark time. World War I, when World War I was over, it was not a kind of celebrate our great victory together. It was really kind of a bleak time in the United States. And what kind of made it even more so was the flu pandemic. The flu pandemic, and this is the factoid, the flu pandemic at the end of World War I, the so-called Spanish flu, resulted in more deaths in the United States than all wars up to that point combined. So the factoid is the Spanish flu in the United States killed upwards of 1 million Americans. And it was more than all wars from the Revolution to the War of 1812 to the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, and World War I. It was more deaths than all of those wars combined. So the Spanish flu, the flu pandemic at the end of World War I, people were not in the streets celebrating, and oftentimes when you saw people out in the streets, they had something covering their mouth out of fear of this infectious flu pandemic that tended to kill middle-aged people the most. My great-grandmother actually died in England from the Spanish flu, and my grandmother and my aunt were orphaned in England as a result of that. So that's the factoid. Spanish flu, more Americans died than all wars up to that point combined. All right, guys, let's have a great week.